Why would you want to squash negativity? So you can be physically healthier, emotionally healthier, and spiritually healthier. Negativity is the enemy of well-being. I don't think you can be a negative person and a happy person at the same time. Negative thought patterns are detrimental to mental, emotional, spiritual, and yes, even your physical health. Hi, I'm Chris Howlett. Welcome to the Cultivate Happiness channel. Today we're going to talk about the 5 ways you can squash negativity in your life and become a more balanced, healthy, and happy person. This is part 1. The nature versus nurture debate is very much alive when it comes to explaining why a person is pessimistic or negative. Whether you're wired to be negative or you grew up in a negative environment or some combination of both isn't particularly important, though it's interesting and possibly helpful in enabling you to understand why you think the way you think. Ultimately, though, the good news is that you can change your mindset. You can become less negative and more positive. You can alter your outlook on life and move from being pessimistic to being more optimistic. And whatever growth you can produce in this area will help you experience the world in a more positive way, leading to a healthier self. So I want to talk about 5 ways to squash negativity. Again, there will be 2 parts of this video. So here in part 1, I'm just going to talk about the first 2 ways to squash negativity. Think about thinking and negate negativity. So number 1, think about thinking. Mindfulness is the art of thinking about thinking. You can step back from yourself and think about what you're thinking and how you're thinking, even how your thinking is affecting how you're feeling. Cultivating an awareness of your body, your mind, and your emotions goes a long way toward helping you build the ability and skill of what is called mindfulness. This mode of self-reflection offers you a good foundation to move beyond negative thoughts and feelings to produce a greater sense of serenity and peace, even in the midst of challenging circumstances. Think about it. You're always thinking, well, almost always. And the quality of those thoughts determine your mental well-being. What you want to do is think about your thoughts in a non-judgmental way. When you find yourself in negative thought patterns and you want to become aware of those thought patterns, you don't want to beat yourself up because of those thought patterns. You just want to notice, hey, I'm reacting pretty negatively to my circumstances. That's interesting. There might be a more productive way for me to think. It's important to remember you're not a bad person because you think negatively. But you can acknowledge that negative thinking isn't helping you become the healthy, whole, happy person you want to be. Just being aware or mindful about your thoughts is a big step in the right direction. The second way to squash negativity is negate negativity. If you remember your math classes as a student, well, maybe this is a dangerously negative territory. Seriously, you remember that if you multiply a negative number by a negative number, the product is positive. For instance, -2 times -2 equals +4. Negating a negative turns it into a positive. A similar approach with negativity and negative thinking can be achieved in your mind. When you're mindful of a negative thought, you can simply bring that into your consciousness. Oh, that's a negative thought. You don't need to or want to really judge yourself or say something like, oh, I shouldn't be having this negative thought, or I always have negative thoughts. No, you don't want to evaluate whether it's good or bad, or whether you're a good or bad person for having the thought. You just want to recognize that it is a negative thought. For example, at work, you're plugging away and you get an email indicating your boss is assigning you a new project on top of a heavy workload. You read it and immediately think, I'll never finish this. You can feel your anxiety rising. You're having a physical reaction to a stressor. This anxiety can work to your advantage if the stressor is a tiger about to pounce on you and eat you. But anxiety is not nearly as helpful when you're simply dealing with busyness at work. So you carry out step 1. Think about thinking. Just recognize that's a negative thought. Now you can go about negating the negativity. Take a deep breath and in your mind step back from yourself and just notice that this is a negative thought and it might not be accurate. So many of our negative thoughts are inaccurate, and even the ones that are accurate aren't generally as troubling as we make them out to be. Back to our example. I'll never finish this. If you allow that thought to go unchallenged, it can cascade into multiple negative thoughts, resulting in a negative, pessimistic, unhealthy attitude. You don't want that to happen. Instead, you can combat the thought and replace it with a more positive one. I'll never finish this. No, that's not true. It will make my work more challenging today, but I will get it finished and everything's going to be fine. You might even think, I'll even feel a positive sense of accomplishment at the end of the day and can reward myself with a pat on the back. You're not pretending the extra work isn't a challenge or that it's easy, but you are negating the truly false thought that you'll never finish. Never, after all, is a very long time. When you think about it, much of our language, especially our negative language, is an overreaction. Never and always generally don't apply. He's always a pain in the rear. She never helps. I'm always getting the short end of the stick. These negative ideas don't help us get things done, and they don't help us feel good about ourselves and our situations. Practice negating negativity. It might be challenging at first, especially if you tend to think in pessimistic ways, but through utilizing this exercise, you can change your mindset and become a more positive, happy person. Okay, that's it for part 1. Next time we'll talk about the remaining 3 ways to squash negativity. Hey, if this video has been helpful, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to the Cultivate Happiness channel so you won't miss out on more helpful videos that will encourage you to live a blessed, fulfilling, meaningful, happy life. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a happier day.